Okay. All right, everyone, welcome again to the class. So it's a beginner's workshop into the amazing world of watercolor. I just feel so happy to teach this class because doing watercolor has truly transformed my life and brought so much joy and wonder and friendship and community. So if you're completely new, I'm just really thrilled and honored. I'm here to lend you a little guide. And we have some more experienced artists here as well. And thank you for being just so humble and so open to learn and play. So yeah, so with that, I actually, at this point, will want to invite you to just sit back and comfortably just rest for a moment so that when we open up our eyes again, we are more clear and more together. So I'm going to do this for myself and I invite you to do it with me. So just sit back, close your eyes if you want to, and just breathe naturally for a moment. Okay, when you are ready, I invite you to open up your eyes and come into the space again. So today, we are going to have quite a few things we're going to learn, but I also want to take it slow in a way because I don't want to bombard you. It's already intimidating enough to be beginning watercolor. So let's try to take it slow and take our time and let's experience the learning seep in. So for the next, I want to ask a question to help us connect more to ourselves and to each other, this lovely group. And I have a little check-in question. And this question for today is this. So imagine there's magic. And all of a sudden, right now, you are turned into a flower. So this magic just turned you into a flower. And what color of this flower you are? So you've been turned into a flower right now. And what is your color? So don't think, just feel. So I feel I'm a warm yellowish flower. So I'm just going to put that into the chat box. And I invite you to do this if you feel like. Just warm yellow. So we have cranberry red to vibrant deep pink. That's lovely. Very special. And pinkish orange. And blue. Yeah. And blue Deborah too. White peach. That's a wonderful color. That's really wonderful. Thank you for sharing this. And we can have a little sense of this wonderful little community we have right now. Oh, wonderful, beautiful flowers. That's no surprise. So yeah, we'll have more white and light pink. That's lovely. Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this. And just start to notice how you are feeling right now. So maybe you feel a little more relaxed and forgot you're coming into watercolor, feels all scared about it. Maybe this can be fun. Okay, all right, that's a good start. All right, so next I'm going to go into teaching. So, and the first thing we want to cover is always the tools, the instrument. So I'm going to assume everyone is very new to watercolor, okay? And then I'm going to go into these details. So for me, I normally have two kinds of watercolor brush, paper. So two kinds, one is made from wood pulp and one is made from cotton. So two types, and the wood pulp is cheaper and the cotton is expensive. It's just the way of the material is collected and harvested and made, right? And for me, I keep those two all the time. And with the wood pulp one, I use it mostly for my play and watercolor play, just having fun and also intuitive painting and just exploration. So because it's cheaper and I feel, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about wasting an expensive paper and just play with it. So that's how it works. And for the cotton paper, and the difference is that it will retain water better and the paper can stay wet longer. And that will enable a lot of technique, especially the one that I engage is wet in wet. So I can have certain effects that I cannot get from the wood pulp made kind of paper. But truly from my own experience that I have created wonderful paintings on both. So I think more important is something else. And we'll go into that something else in a bit. So we have paper and then we have brushes. So for me, I really like the natural hair brush because the way I paint, I use water. And the natural hair brush just take in water so much more than the synthetic ones. So let me show you here. So I drop in this brush and you can see the head start to just expand, just have a lot of movement. Yeah, can you see that? And this can absorb so much water, it can dripping down, no problem. And then I can take it off. So because it's able to absorb so much water, and for me, I don't just paint with pigment, I paint with water, like equal amount, equal ratio. So this natural hair brush is very useful for me. And the size-wise, I keep one pretty big one. This is a Chinese calligraphy brush. It's about more than the size 12, than a Euro common round 12 size 12 brush. Then have another one, natural hair, and that is size 10. And I also have size 8, so it's just similar in size that I use both sides a lot. And I do keep a small brush. This is the only synthetic brush that I probably use, and that is really tiny. And why I need that? Because there is points that I don't want any water in my brush so that I can really charge at my painting with the accurate and precise amount of pigment where exactly where I want it. So with this kind of brush, because it's just absorbs so much water, no matter how much I use my paper towel to take it off, there still will be some water in it. So that is really important. I have a wonderful student and her art just grows so well. And then at one point she asked me, why I have so much water on my paper all the time. Like she's great fluid, but there's certain times she doesn't want that. So, and I just asked her what brush she used. And she used a big brush, a mop brush, actually even bigger than this one all the time. So when it comes to final touch, there's just still too much water. So I told her to just switch to this and it solved the problem. So yeah, the tools really matters. So that's a brush. And then the next we have is a palette. So here is my palette, and I assume that you might have seen my online videos, right? And I just use this dinner plate and have tubes of pigment I squeezed out and arrange them in a rainbow fashion. So, and that will sit on my table. And I do have all this normal plastic little one I can fold and get out to paint easily. I do that too. And I'm going to go over why I have that setup later in this class. And we have palette. And then I have my board. This is an acrylic board, really use a lot. And I put paper on it. And I don't normally tape it down. And you may notice there's a lot of artists like to tape down their paper, right? So I will tell you why. It's not really a technique question. For me, I have noticed that whenever I tape down my paper, I start to feel nervous inside. I feel like, oh, this is going to be official. It's been taped down. I better be good. As soon as that thought came, I'm no good. I'm just all tightened up. I can't play. I can't have fun. So eventually I decided I don't care if my paper buckles. I want to have a good time first and foremost. So I just let go all the tapes and it actually didn't matter. So it didn't matter. It doesn't really buckle so much. Probably the way I don't do big washes and stuff. So yeah, so that's a tip of why I do what I do and which really helped. So, and also I do have a little easel and I used to have a big book. And for a while, because I was so mobile, I can't carry a big book with me. So I got this from online, it's just $20 or something. It's made from bamboo. It has all the wonderful angles, especially great for watercolor painting. See, it doesn't go too tall. It can go this just right. So I like this a lot, really well made. So I just put my board on this and ready to paint. So, and I do have an angle, and we'll talk about why I have an angle in a little bit as well. All right, and now I have these two jars of water. So if you wonder why I have two, right? Why not just one? There is a good reason, because I keep one to just rinse my brush, and I keep one to paint with. Yes, I paint with clear water. So I always have two jars together with me. Okay, so we have covered all these tools, right? Did I miss anything? Is there another tool I haven't mentioned? Actually, there is one. There's actually the most important tool, the most important instrument. And what is that? That is actually ourselves. The artist ourselves is the most important instrument of creation, so that we don't have to be the driver of this bus. We are the instrument, and we allow the greater energy, the spirit, the intelligence, divine, however you call it, to blow through us. So I like to imagine that I am a flute, and the divine blows through me and create music. So it's so much better than I'm trying to create everything on myself, but open up to the divine, to the greater world to create. So that is truly essential for my way of creation. And I think many of you are attracted to be here and to learn this style and how I do that. I feel my intuition is that deep down, you are really attracted to the liveliness in my paintings. It doesn't look so hard. There's this freshness, this shimmering light of life. It's so alive. How did that happen? So that really doesn't just come from all the best brushes or most expensive paper. It comes from being open here. Okay, so, and here's where I want to share with you. That's very important. How do we open up this instrument? So if I'm a flute, if I'm a closed, nobody can blow into it. Just boom, boom, boom. It's just weird noise, right? So I do have exercise. I open up myself when I start an art practice. So actually, we just did that in the beginning of the class, like we did, a little just sit back with you, some meditation. And we all have our different ways. There's no good or right or better or worse ways. It's your unique ways. What works for me? What works for you that you feel you can be freer, you can be lighter, and just really enjoy this process. So that practice will be for you. So, and for me, I do that in meditation. And I also have a little physical thing to help me warm up. So I'm going to share that with you if you want to. So I invite you, if you want to, just mirror whatever I'm doing, if you want to. So I'm going to raise up my hand and just gently shake. Yeah, gently shake my fingers and gently shake my wrist. Yes, you did it. It's really gentle. And then let that shake go onto my arms. Just swing. And shake my shoulders. With a little roll. Yes, and swing my bodies. So if I was standing, I would be shaking my hips and kicking my legs. So yeah, just like that. Yeah, I see some nodding. So just start to notice how you're feeling. So if you feel more alive, yeah, and still less stress, yes. The more like you, more feel alive. That aliveness is the energy you are going to be able to convey, transport into your own painting. Okay, so that's two things. I do have the third thing. So know that in the instrument, we open it up, right? We also tune it up. There's an instrument, we have to maintain it. We tune it up so the right key plays the right tone or tune. So how do we tune up this instrument? And what do we tune it up to? So for me, I have learned that I want to tune up to my inner truth, to my truth right now. So the more I'm centered in my truth, the more I can create and add the truth to the world. So, and truth is beauty, and beauty is love. So add truth, beauty, and love to the world when I'm tuned up to my own truth first and foremost. And I do have an exercise for it. It's really simple. But before we go there, let me go back to some basic brush technique. Then we can play this game. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little demo, but I actually did yesterday, so I videotaped it because I want you be able to see the angle of my brush. So hold on. So I'm going to start to share a little video, and you should be able to see it on your screen. Okay, so if you see a video, just nod your head. That's awesome. So I'm going to start. So this is just my painting table. It's really simple. I have my setup as I just mentioned to you. And let me start to play. So first I show you my water and put my brush into it. And you can just tuck it and get rid of any excess water you don't want. So next, I'm going to demonstrate the first way of an essential brushwork. Just to use the tip of the brush and pull some of that pigment. And this is just like we do with acrylic or even pencil. It's nothing special. Just use the tip of the brush and draw, basically like drawing on the paper. So nothing special. So that's one. So I have four. There's just a million ways of using brush, but I have found these four are most essential, and I want to share that with you. So the next, I want to show you a second very useful brush work is actually laying my brush down and soak up all the pigment and water onto the entire body of that brush. Do you notice that? My entire body of the brush head are saturated with the water and color. And also I'm laying down my brush, see how it's almost parallel to the painting surface, and gently glide the brush onto my paper. And see, I have some skipping of the paper. That means the brush is really more dry. So I got more water and give it another try. So there's more water. So now it's smoother. Okay. Yes, so this is second, just really laying flat using the entire body of the brush head or entire head of the brush. Okay, now come to the third one. This third one, I just took off many water. So there's not much water, but use the, it's really dry. And I, like a sword, I glide very quickly onto the paper. And that creates this skipping and all this texture. So this is really, really wonderful. We're going to talk about how we use it, but that's another like sword that you glide onto your paper very quickly with motion and energy. So, and now finally the fourth one, just throw water, throw pigment onto the paper, and don't underestimate. This is the most important brushwork if you want to paint loosely. So, okay, so I just throw it onto the paper. And also the second one, I don't know if you noticed. So let me just go back to this one more time. So how to throw, this is so important. So let's do it one more time. So first I can simply just throw water onto it. Yeah. And we can mess things up. And that's really important. And then I can use like another brush, like a support. And now the spatter is much smaller. So you can have much smaller. So that's how you are going to do it. Okay. All right. So next moment, we're going to play with this and know that we have a million ways and you are going to have your own favorite ways. So this just start. And for you, if you've never done watercolor, to get you started. Any questions do we have here? You can just unmute yourself. All right, so, okay. So next, I'm going to share with you how we're going to do this exercise. So we just mentioned, so go back to that greatest, most important instrument of art creation, that is you yourself. And we open up and we want to tune up. How do we tune up to our truth? That sounds so big, yeah? It's a big mission of a lifetime or several lifetimes, but there's a simple way to do it. So here is this, very simple. So just look at your palette. And I hope by now you have your own palette laid out. If you don't have this in circle, but just in pens, boxes, that's fine too. But just look at them and see which color you are attracted to the most. Just take a look and see what color you are attracted to the most. And then just use your brush and pick up some color and throw it on your paper, however you want to. And that's it, to start from there. And then just what's next, just ask yourself, how do you feel? How do you feel like to play? Any different colors or any different way of brushwork? And before you go, ladies and gentlemen, so if you have one big paper, I want you to just draw a line or something in the middle. So this one half, I want you to leave half just blank for now. And the other half start to play, as I have told you. And on the other half, once you finish playing here, on this new half, wet it with water first. Just put water on this second half, as much water as you can, and then start play again. Okay, I'm going to play with you so you can take a look and listen to my cues as well. Let me share my camera, another camera, so you can see my, yes, my painting surface. There we go. So I have two, and I'm going to just draw a line. So remind me to keep it two half. Okay. And then for the first half, I'm going to the color I feel attracted to right now. So I really feel attracted to this lovely yellowish green. So I'm just pulling out a lot. I feel a lot. You don't have to, just a little a lot. It's up to you. And then put it, oh, right here. Okay. So yeah, just like that. And then I just feel, I feel more, have some this yellow. I just bring some yellow and put it on it. Honestly, I feel so much happier already. So anyhow, so yes, this is how we do it. Divide your paper into two sides and start to play. And we do have more experienced artists, and you've been playing with me for a long time. So for this exercise, I encourage you to play for yourself, just however you feel like playing. You don't have to do this, and just play on your own. And we're going to play on this side for about 3 minutes. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next. And I'm going to share a little music, so it just help us have more fun. Yeah, the music, I always play music. Let me know if the music is too loud. So I'm going to share. So just imagine you are a kid again and nobody here to watch over your shoulder, see if you're doing anything good. But just play. Play with your color and play with water. And play with how you can use your brush, like the ways we just learned. But don't try to paint anything particular. This is not for that. Just play with pigment, colors, and water and brush. So if your side is feeling like filling up and you have done a lot of playing, now move to the second half. And now just use your big brush and put on as much water as you can. Use a big brush and bring down here as much water as you can. And if you feel that's enough, double that amount. So that's the key to have the right amount for our beginners, because I know who we are, what we like. We don't like water flowing on our water. We want it to be controlled. So, but now just playing, right? So double the amount that you feel that's right, then you may get it right. It can't be too much. Yes, that's the key. It can't be too much for right now. Yeah, just put as much water as you can. And again, go to your palette and see what color attracts you right now and start there. However you want to put it onto your paper, and just do it and go from there. don't have to paint a lot. So if you feel like not painting, and that's perfectly fine and beautiful too. So let's play this for another moment. I love that some of you are trying different brush strokes, some throwing water. If you haven't thrown water onto your beautiful painting, now let's throw some. And in the next moment, and I can see that some of you can't stop playing, some of you feel complete, so that's all good. So in the next moment, let's find a natural place that you can take a pause just on your playing for now. We'll have more play coming up, but for now, if you can come to a natural place to pause. So if it's possible to raise up your little play and we can see what did we play, then I want to see. So this is mine. Oh, I want to see yours. Oh, wow. Yes. Oh my, there's some really fun, beautiful playing. Okay, that's awesome. All right. Yes, yes, that's great. Hello, hello. That's awesome. Wonderful. So, okay, so let's just take a moment to be with your playing. And if you want to, you can actually even turn it to the other different ways and see if there's something fun for you to see. Yeah, be with your painting for a moment. And know that you just made history, because before this moment, nobody in the entire human history has made the painting like you did. You are history making. So that's so awesome. Okay, and also notice how you're feeling right now. You feel maybe more relaxed and maybe more intrigued, or just however you're feeling at this moment. And I hope you feel like, oh, I'm into this learning. So watercolor wasn't that bad. So, okay, so yeah, let me tell you why we do this. And this is actually the exercise I do myself too. So basically from today's teaching, I'm taking you through my own creative process as if I was in my studio doing my own painting. So after all that beautiful opening and connecting, and I'm tuning up with myself, my own instrument, simply by honoring what I'm feeling attracted to, the color right now. There are other ways. You're going to discover your own way. So for me, it's just so simple to just look at a color palette and honor that I'm attracted to and bring it onto my paper and start to play. This simple act connects us within. So it's not just about your head, I'm thinking how to paint a painting, but truly how I feel right now. I'm honored by myself. I'm more centered in my truth. So we're more tuned up as a beautiful instrument. So yeah, and give it a try. If this is the first time, it's me, whoa, what are you talking about? So, but we'll talk more about it as we go through this. But for right now, I'm going to, like I said, to take it slow. And we're going to go into a little bit of connecting time. I want to invite us to just slow down and take a pause and be with this learning experience we just had. And we're going to do this with a little chat with each other. So we're going to be in separate breakout rooms. So if you haven't done breakout rooms, it's simply a chat room that this Zoom is going to create automatically. And you will be put into a chat room with one or two other artists right here in this class. Just say hi to each other and then start to, if you feel like, share a little bit what you experienced all this long and what stand out for you, what's surprising for you, what's fun for you. So just a minute, just a minute. So you don't have to talk a lot if you don't like to talk a lot. If you like to talk a lot, then don't talk a lot. So just a minute to share with each other how you feel right now. What do you notice? It's that simple. And for me, I'm going to go into different room to just listen in and hear if there's any common questions or any questions I should address for the entire class. So that's what I'm going to be. So just to have fun, meet this wonderful new friend or old friend if you've met before, and see what happens. So I'm opening the room now, and there should be something on your screen asking you to join a room. So just click to join, and I'm going to bring you out automatically, so you won't be lost in the universe. Okay, so it's just me now, and in a moment, I'm going to go into the breakout rooms. And if you are watching the recording, the breakout rooms won't be recorded, so you'll see some blank. So I saw more smile on your face. And if you want to share anything, briefly, what did you notice so far in this class? Just briefly, if you want to.
In our breakout room, one of the things we discovered is that we're not so sure how to have fun and that this is an exercise in that, just not needing to be good at anything and just stay curious and try to have fun like a kid would.
That's so true. Thank you, Katie, for this notice. It's awesome. So, Jerry, I see you unmute yourself. Would you like to say something?
Very similar to what Katie just mentioned, but it does feel, I feel a lot calmer now that we're a few minutes into it than I did at the very beginning. So
that's awesome. Yes, thank you for noticing that as well. That's great. Thank you, Jerry. So we have time to listen to one more sharing if you feel like. So just unmute. Bobby, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I was just telling Amy, in all the art classes I've ever taken, nobody's ever said, how do you feel? I never knew that was part of it, but I'd like to tap into that. That sounds really good to me.
I'm so glad to hear, Bobby. And I'm so appreciate you are right here. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bobby. And I was in the room and I heard something. It's just so wonderful. And I want to respond to some. So first, just adding to what Bobby was saying, we never thought we need to know what we feel when we paint. So that's truly what art making is about. It's about engaging the whole being of human being. And for me, I didn't know this either. And I must say, I feel very, very lucky and grateful that I have devoted my own doctoral research on how art affects people and community. And that has been truly transformative and enlightening experience to really understand why certain art making can have such an enormous impact, like or certain don't. So that is wonderful, incredible. And from there, before I got into my doctoral program, I was thinking I'm going to be joining this think tank and becoming a social scientist after I graduate. But that didn't happen because this study was so powerful that I decided, wow, I really want to be an artist. And an artist that not to paint for success, but paint to be a better human being and paint to serve, to support others to be better human beings and for the world to get better. That's really what I want for my life. So an art can do this. And from there, I had this really wonderful opportunities to study and collaborate with many world-class artists. And these artists are not superior in their artistry, but they are also spiritually grounded. And I have learned so much. So one of them is Kevin Aiga Jeff, and he is a choreographer based in Chicago, and he is a co-founder of a dance theater called Deeply Rooted. And that theater put up shows that routinely being considered the best in Chicago. So, and he has taught me that for human being, there are 4 dimensions: the physical, the intellectual, the emotional, and the spiritual. And our modern life is such that we only honor the intellectual. And we recently began to really connect with our body, to understand the body is a sacred and truly the most important vehicle. So we can pay attention to it. But there's just beyond just a vehicle. This body holds enormous amount of wisdom and just ability. So anyhow, and emotions and spirituality, all that is whole being. And as art makers, artists, we engage all 4 beings. Yeah, it's not just an intellectual practice, it's a whole being practice. So if this is just beginning for you, and I'm just feeling very honored to open up a little bit of light for you to see into yourself, It's just your in self. I mean, you're in yourself. It's just enormous, luminous place that offers everything you ever need to create art or life. That's just so true. And that's part of my practice, being just really enlightened by both the science research and studying with all these just wonderful artists to enlighten me, to engage art, not as a external pursuit, but internal nourishment. Okay, so we're going to talk more about it later, but right now, let's go back to the technique part. And I also hear a wonderful comment in the room. You asked, so this water is amazing. It does so much wonder. I can see when I drop color, there's water, and boom, it blooms. It's so wonderful. But also it feels out of control. It's too much. How can I make it do whatever? I mean, exactly what we want to do. The truth is, with technique and practice, you can do that. So it's not going to be an easy ride, but it can be easy. But there's a way. So we're going to go into that technique side. What's a way to engage watercolor, still being free and effortless? Okay. So, and for that, I'm going to do a little demo first. And then we're going to go into that exact technique. So this demo, oh, actually, let me go back for a moment. Let me show you this. So yes, so watercolor painting, as you are seeing with your own play, is so fascinating and also so out of control. So how do we approach it? So I have discovered among all a million gazillion ways to do watercolor, there are 5 most essential elements that if I get hold of all these, that I get watercolor. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you a little diagram that I did. It's going to show you what are these 5 essential elements. Okay, so if you see a beautiful flower blooming, please nod your head. Yeah, okay, great. So that is, I imagine that watercolor is like a blossom, a flower of 5 petals. So these are the 5 essential petals. So starting from the top is water, and then color, and then shape, or you can say it's brushwork, because brush creates shape, yeah. And then light and shade. How do we see? We see from light, yeah. So that's an essential element. Then the edge is a boundary, and it's also a space. So that is actually a very, I would say, philosophical space. When you get there, you're getting into the spiritual realm. But well, as you get into everyone, you get into the spiritual realm, but more so in the edge. So okay, so these are the 5 elements. So as more experienced artists, when we put down one brush stroke, we're actually making decision on all these 5 things. So that's why watercolor is so hard. It is considered the hardest medium because unlike oil, you can't redo it. Once you put your brush mark down, that's basically it. There's some leeway that I can show you later, but it really trains to make decision and being impromptu and then being brave and go with the flow. But the more you practice, the more you are going to get a handle on all these 5 elements. There's no question about it. So you can definitely do it. And I'm going to show you something why you can definitely do it. So anyhow, so for this class, we're going to introduce you to water, color, the brushworks, the shapes, and we'll talk about light a little bit. And we may not be able to touch on the edge, but just know that it's there. Okay. So I'm going to come back, and then before I go into the next, I want to show you this quickly. So I want to show you this. So this looks just like a child painting, right? This is what I did about 6 years ago when I first started to watercolor. It's nothing special. I'm not exceptionally gifted or talented, but I just love it. I love it. And I put in the time to learn and practice. And today I'm at a place that I can so much more freely share and paint and create what my heart really feels. And that's so satisfying. So, and all this technique that I have learned along the way that I'm organizing and analyzing just because I do have a scientist kind of brains for some reason, but I love to analyze what happened, why this worked, and then bring that into my teaching and share with more people like you. So here is what I just shared with you. In the water first play exercise is to be willing to play, be willing to engage water. And you can't really do it when you try to paint something official. I can't do it, it's too scary, but I can do it when I'm playing. And I'm playing in the paper I know I'm not going to share with anyone. And I can just be myself and play. And play is the ancient way of learning, especially wisdom. Play is the ancient way of learning of wisdom. This lived wisdom. So don't underestimate and really give your time or experience to play. Okay, and that with water to know. And then later on, we're going to show you the technique that you can truly engage water, won't let it flow to become a flood. The flood is not flow. We want flow, we don't want flood, and we can do that. Okay, and the next, I want to touch on color. So for this, because of time, we are not going to do in class exercise for you. I'm going to do a demo, but I highly recommend that you go home, or you are at home. That's always when we do Zoom class. When you're at home, after this, watch the video again, or don't watch it, however, but do that exercise on yourself, okay? For right now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about color theory. Yay, that's so exciting. Okay, no, it's not. The theory just dwarfs me, right? It's a part, oh gosh, I don't know if I can understand it so much. I felt the same way and know that in color is where the theory is almost the most in art, in visual art. So much theory in visual art, in color. And I have really spent a lot of time to dive into all that books, big books, and trying to understand color. And eventually I got a handle of it, but I still feel that it doesn't come intuitively to me. I feel like whenever I make a color choice, I need to look at some diagrams, some successful artist painting and see what I'm doing right. So that didn't click until one day. So let me show you what that one day is. Okay. So here is a book that I co-authored a few years ago, and it's called Open Circle and Story Arts and Reinvention of Community. So that's actually part of my doctoral research and the field work I've done with all these incredible artists and around the US and internationally. And the theme of this play, it's truly a play, it's a theatrical play, is to try to engage diverse people into an open community, like an open circle. So that is, there's flow, there's energy, then there's togetherness, and there's openness. So as I was designing this image for this book, I was also studying watercolor at that time. It suddenly just dawned on me. So this water, this color, all these colors is a community. It's a community of colors. So I can see now each one is like having a relationship with each other. And for example, well, I have some water, so let me try to take that off before it dropped all over on my paper. So, okay, here we go. So this is a roughly a color wheel. It's not exact accurate, and that's okay, but just to give you the idea. So I feel like for all this color, each one of them like a simple person, like a person. And what's next to it is immediate next to it. It's like a family. And we share the most genes and history and heritage, a lot of habit, culture, right? So that's my family. And that gives me the depth. And then what's going a little bit further out are someone I have some in common. There's always something in common so that we get along really well. It's like friends. If you have a good friend, you must have something in common. And you have more friends, you have more in common. Then you get together and life is so fun to be with them, right? So we just seeing all these colors that's a little further out, but still like imagine there's a cake. It's a cake, a wedge of cake, like 60 degree or 30 degree. All that colors next to you like that, you share something in common. And it's very easy for you guys to get together and be harmonious. And then as the circle goes further and out, you will reach a point that you're going to go to your exact opposite. And that is where the biggest fun happens. So it can be the biggest disaster. Know that in watercolor, we talk about making mud. That's your mud maker right here. Or it can make you shine like never before, like no one else. That's your complementary color. Now we call it complementary, so not a disaster maker. So yeah, just like that. And I got that like, wow, so I can do colors because I know how I can live a good life. I want to stay connected to my family. I want to have friends so we can have fun together. And I want to have someone who's different from me, but not overwhelm me. Yeah, so that he just bring out the best in me. So yes, that's all our lived experience. I see some now, we all have this experience. So from that point on, I no longer need the big books to tell me what's the right combination. I just do like that. And I'm going to show you in the next moment to see the colors, the color wheel as a community and bring them into my life, into my painting. So next, by the way, we're going to take a quick break after this little demo. So if you need to go to where you need to do, then you will have a moment to do that. So let me show you this next video. Okay, so here is I'm going to demo how I play this game. So again, it becomes playing game is so much funner. Funner, is that the right word? More fun, okay. So I'm going to start with the rose color, a pink color. That's what we're going to paint today. So here we go. And I start with wetting my brush and pull down some pinkish color and make a little water puddle. So if that's not enough, I got more water. And see, I have a little pink water puddle there. So I'm going to bring that onto my paper. Just like that. So imagine that is me, this little pink puddle that I brought onto my paper. Okay, so next, I want to bring in some of my friends. Oh, wait, my family first. Can't forget my family. So that's immediate next to me. And that's a kind of deep red, a alizarin crimson in this case. And that just gives me the depth. And I want to go to some red that's pretty close to me. And I feel that gives me the vibrance. So from there, I continue to go a little bit further out. So I'm getting more of the orange. That's very interesting too. I feel like I'm with a really interesting friend. It's so much already different from the very beginning when I was just my pink self. Now let's make it even funner or more fun to get more of the yellow. And now let's not ignore the friends on the other side and see. So I got in some violet And wow, that kind of calms me down some and give me this depth, yes. And some more blue. I like that. I feel that really harmonious. So yes, here I'm all playing with the family and friends and even some more blue. And you can see I'm doing well. This is just a pretty little watercolor puddle here. Yes. Then it will come to a point I want to bring something different. So that's a direct opposite from pink, which is green. And let's see what happens if we bring up this green. With that, I just feel my world is complete. Yes, I feel that. I feel just more balanced with this direct opposite. And let's try maybe something different and just play a little more and see what happens. So I'm just playing and see if we can get along with this new color and how we get along. So, okay, so this is basically a demonstration. And what I mean that to have a color of community. So for right now, you see we began with a very simple singular color. And then we start to just bring in family, friends, and some opposite. Now we have this really interesting and vibrant and a variety of colors and still beautiful, right? I didn't make mud. So yes, so this is just to give you a little bit of the idea. And I want you go back, you are already home, you're back. So after the class, at your own time, to try this exercise and to discover more for yourself, the relationship. So it's visual art, well, truly any art. It's so much about the relationship. And also here is going to be a technique part that's going to lead us to the next step, is that notice that, actually you may not notice because you're so new. Yay, I did some magic, you didn't notice. So, but now I'm going to give you away this magic. So after I made the first big pink water puddle, from that point on, that I know this big puddle, pink puddle, is what I want to be the primary placeholder. And for the other colors I bring in, they are going to make me happy. It's not going to make a mess for me, right? So now to make a mess in watercolor is simple too, just with less water. So from that point on, every time I go in with new color, I take off some water from my brush so it doesn't overwhelm the first color or the colors I put onto it earlier. So that's a tip. And we're going to do more after this break, but just now have this awareness. So to control water is truly to control the amount of water on your brush and know there's a sequence. And we're going to go into that sequence right after the break. So after the commercial break, please come back soon. Okay, so let's take maybe 2 or 3 minutes, then go to wherever, then come back, okay? All right. Okay, so I'm glad you're still here. Welcome back after the commercial break. And I want to just add, after my break, then my brain kicked in again and I remember something I need to say. So first, for just the color community I just shared, notice that in the real life, in nature, there's anything that's alive. There's no singular color. The rosa pink, sky blue, that is much simplified. If you really look at the rose, you will see different colors, not just the pink. Yes. And then if you are new to watercolor or art making, then you might say that, oh, Qinghong or Q, I don't see the colors you see. Am I not right or I'm not capable? So you are right and you're capable. So what's that? It is the sensitivity, because I do have training in art for a long time. And this sensitivity is being heightened. And you can do that too. And you can, if you pay attention, start to pay attention, you're going to be able to discern very subtle hues of colors. So just trust that, okay? And second thing I want to say is that remember the 5 elements, because we are doing one workshop to introduce you to a few, we can't really expand, but know that I have taught 5 workshops devoted to each of the elements. So each is about 2 hours, and we really expand and go into depth, having exercise and explanation. So if you want to, I will share with you where to find them for additional further learning for you, okay? All right, so let's check in with you. So is there any questions, any thoughts or comments you want to make right here before we go into the next step? You can take a moment. Okay, looks like we're ready to go. Awesome. Okay. So that will come to the really the very essential technique, the big technique we're going to learn. That is wet in wet. So this is how we paint into the wetness and engage the wetness all the time in this way of painting. So for me, I don't have the process that I paint something and I blow dry it and I do something again. I actively engage the wetness. So for one painting session for me, it's actually really short. I rarely have more than an hour on anything because it doesn't stay wet that long. So that's just, I like it, and everyone's different. I'm not saying you can't blow dry. If it feels good to you, absolutely do it. Remember, the first thing, the most important, is about you. It's your being. So however makes you happy, and do it. So okay, so wet in wet makes me happy, and I'm going to share with you how to do it. And people are so smart, and they figure out there's very simple way to engage water. And to do that, we're going to just make some water puddles like we've been doing. We've been making water puddles. And let me see to share my screen. So I'm going to demonstrate how to make puddles first, then you will have a moment to play on your own. Okay. Let me bring on this new piece of paper. So I'm going to use my big brush and then just wet it. I want you to see. So I'm going to make a puddle first, like I did with my exercise. So pull down some pink and not enough water, get more water. So when I feel like there's enough water, then I'm going to put it onto my paper just lightly. Remember the second brush stroke we did? Actually, you are welcome to follow me, or you're welcome to watch me, however you want to, okay? So I'm going to make this water puddle first. And when it's enough water, and see here, ladies and gentlemen, there is water beading down here. Can you see that? Yes. And I have water flowing down because I have an angle with my board. Remember that? That is why I have an angle, so that water can flow down. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you, for people may have missed it. So, oops, I don't know how to show you now. Okay, there's an angle. So my board is on an angle. The water can flow down and bead. Okay, as I'm talking, my water is drying. So let me go to the next. So that's a watery, the first puddle watery. The next puddle, we're going to make a little creamy puddle. So same pigment, less water on my brush. And see, I'm pulling down here. It's just a creamy. I don't have much water, a creamy puddle on my brush, and gently put this in here. See, this one, it doesn't go everywhere. It's kind of stayed where I want it. Yeah, and there's beautiful natural fusion coming out. Yes, and this is going to be so natural when you paint the texture of flowers, the veins. You don't have to do this little line. It does it for yourself. So this is second, a creamy. Just make a creamy thing. So next, if you're using the same color, you don't even have to rinse your brush. What I do here is simply dab the tip of my brush onto the paper towel. If that's not enough, see what I'm doing? Just gently roll it and take off more water. So this is a time that your brush basically comes back to its original size. Yeah, so that's the tip. That's how to say least amount of water you want have on your brush. Okay, now I just go into my pigment directly. So now I'm making a buttery mixture using the tip of my brush. Basically, I just pick up pure pigment directly and I put it onto my puddle. Now see, it doesn't go anywhere, right? Because there's no water. So here are the just 3 layers we just did. And that is the essence of the wet in wet. Make 3 types of water mixture. So first, the watery, second, creamy, and the third, the buttery or the pure pigment. So in this way, you can engage water and have control. So I'm going to do this again. So if you want to follow me, so first, I bring in a lot of water onto my brush, a lot of water. So I'm not taking off any on my paper towel. And I have a paddle, I make a paddle. So a paddle needs to look like a paddle. I know when we begin, we don't put enough water. There's really no paddle on your brush, on your palette. So if there's no paddle, then you're not making a paddle. So make this a water paddle and put the whole of your brush into it. Just take in that water and then gently lay your whole brush onto the paper, gently glide. Not enough water. I'm not seeing any beading. That means not enough water. So I gently put it here again. Now I see beading of water. That's enough. See, that's very important. Same color. I don't have to rinse my brush. I just dab it, take off a little bit of water, but still there's some. Then I want to make a creamy, just pour out some water, some creamy mixture with the tip of my brush and a little bit back, just maybe half of my brush. Now gently glide that in here. So I'm noticing this color is not intense enough. That means I didn't have enough pigment. So I just go back and bring in more pigment and gentle make it. Okay, now I like that better. Yeah. So, okay, gentle is a key. And now the third, the buttery, just pure pigment. So take off even more water on my brush by dabbing it on my paper towel and use the tip of my brush, pick up that pure pigment and put wherever I want it. And it doesn't go anywhere and still have a really nice kind of fusion. So I'm sorry, I just can't stop playing. Okay, so I can't have a little rose there. So see, that's how you paint a rose. You just did a little rose. Okay, so as you are doing it, feel free to unmute and ask any questions. Yeah, just give it a try again. This really takes a lifelong time to do this because, you know, one time, I think I mentioned about this, I took a workshop of an artist and he said he's been doing watercolor for 60 years. 60 years. And then the students asked, so what are you studying right now? And he said, I was so surprised to hear that I'm studying the water to pigment ratio. That's exactly what we are studying right now. And he's been doing it for 60 years. From that point on, oh, pressure's off. So yeah. All right. Any other questions? Feel free. This is a time for you to ask. And we're going to play with this for just another minute. Then we're going to try with a little rose painting. And for beginners, complete beginners, know that this, where you got this, you are already great with this workshop. Everything else coming up is bonus. And because we have more experienced artists, so the next exercise we're going to do will be a little bit further out for the complete beginners, but watch the video, watch the demonstration, and try it on your own. You don't have to do it right now, but just, oh, got the idea. So yeah, just got the idea, and that's good enough. Okay, so if you have complete your exercise, then please raise it up so I can see. Oops. Oh, Sherry, that's awesome. Yes. Yes, Deborah, I can see what you talk about. So just less water, more pigment. Yes. Oh, Katie, that come out really nice. And Diana, that's gorgeous. I love it. Yes, yes. That's fantastic. And John, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you got it. You really nailed it. Yes. Yes, oh, and Amy, let me see. Oh, I can see. Okay, it's a little blurry, but if you put it closer to the screen, maybe I can see it. Okay, yeah, a little bit. All right, yeah, I can see you got the 3 types. You do. That's fantastic. Okay, I feel so relieved. That's really the key technique I want to share with you. That's going to take your entire life to study, huh? All right, so awesome. Okay, so now as you are playing, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to note that this wet in wet technique, as we're doing the 3 puddles, the great benefit is that we are also painting the light and shade. So because for the watery, it's mostly the light part of the subject. And the creamy is normally the mid-tone of a subject. And the battery, the final stage, is mostly dark of the subject. So when we're putting the 3 layers together, we automatically paint the light and shade. So that's a great benefit of this method. So of course, you have to know where's the light, where's the darkness, where's the mid-tone, right? So that's another kind of feeling into it and intellectual exercise again. And because the time of this class, we don't have enough time to expand on that. I think you're learning a lot already, but also know that I do have a workshop just devoted on that if you want to explore more. Okay, so next, we are going to go into this rose painting. And I have a demo that I already recorded. So sometimes I do live, sometimes I do recording because Zoom doesn't show every detail. So when there are things I really want you to see clearly, I pre-made this video, so just yesterday. So again, for our complete beginners, you are not required to do this exercise. Just listen, watch it, listen to it. And more experienced artists, you are welcome to do whatever, sit back and enjoy or paint along, okay? So here is, let me grab it. Here's a little painting, a rosebud we're going to paint together. So this is more complex than a Euro beginner. So if you, oh wow, that's a lot. So that's normal. So, but I want to show you several things so you can start to, oh, I got this idea. So that will guide you through your practice. Okay, so, okay, there we go. So what I shared with you first is actually the studies I did. I don't want you to think that, oh, Chin-Hong is so talented and capable. She just whipped her brush and it appeared. It was not true. So I want to show you how many practice I did before I got here, okay? The sun was really bad. I was feeling so bad. I didn't want to show you. So know but that's real. That's right there. It's very bad. Okay, so here are some more seeable. So here are some little painting I did. And you don't have to paint big, just to paint small and to get a sense. So I start with smaller and did a little bigger. And I also show you that I have this one. It's pretty messy, right? So that's a paper, the wood pulp. So see the one that I did to bud. This one really didn't work. Same technique, but because the paper is different, it didn't contain water as long as possible. So the effect is very different. So just become aware of that. if your painting didn't turn out as mine, it's possible the paper is different. So this paper I'm using is a Fabriano watercolor paper. So I will write that in the follow-up email if you want to know more. Okay, so that's what I want to show you. I did the studies, and then I did the painting process. So let me show you next. So, all right. So I begin with actually a yellow. Oh, let me hold on here. You know, it's good saying I can pause my video. So we did the exercise with a pink water, right? But in this painting, I'm going to start with a yellowish, a very light yellow color. Why? Because our natural plants, they go through this phase of growth. Remember, the bud is actually yellowish and greenish, then it becomes red, becomes other color. So I have found that if I start with a yellowish color, it's like yellow, the color of the light, the color of the sunshine, then whatever I paint has more life. So yeah, but if it's too much yellow, it will make things orangish, too yellowish. So here is what I'm doing, just a very light yellow puddle of water. So first, a little puddle of water of yellow, light yellow. Yeah, the watery mixture. I put this watery mixture just in the shape of this rose, roughly. And I didn't separate the petal, it's just this whole shape of the rose. Yeah, so it's a little puddle of yellow, resembles the shape of the rose. And next, I'm going to create more creamy mixture, so less water. Now I go in with this pink color, and I'm gently brushing it down. Some of yours may see it blooms, and that's wonderful. Mine didn't bloom, so I'm gently guiding them onto my color puddle. But notice I'm not covering the puddle entirely. I want to leave some light. So there's a very natural sense of variation. So now I'm going to that petal that's open and just get a creamy mixture and also a darkness. Okay, good place to pause. That's good when I have a video I can pause. So here, I think some of you are trying to follow, so I'll give you a little time. So after I put in the pink water, I go into the dark part of the rose. So where I see there's darkness, I actually put in a mixture of red, more red with my pink and less water. So that's what I did, use a mixture, making a creamy mixture of red and pink. Then I put in where I see it's dark. So that's what I did. Okay, let's move on. So right here, you already see a basic rose, just so effective, this method. So I'm continuing work on the mid to dark area of the rose. Still, it's a creamy mixture. So the color feels some, but not everywhere. Okay, see, I'm dabbing my brush on the paper. I'm going in with that buttery, the final mixture. I'm just use the tip of my brush. I pick up some pigment and I go to where the darkest dark is, where I want to have the most contrast. And that is in the center of this rosebud. And the petal, the shade of the petal that immediately close to it. So that's where I help to bring in some contrast. Okay, I'll pause here for you to follow if you are. So here I'm at the third stage of the painting. I took off a lot of water from my brush. It's basically not watery at all. And I pick up the pure pigment and I go to where I see the darkest area. And that is right here in the center of the rose and a little bit here. Yeah? Okay. And I will have time for you to ask questions after this. All right. So now I'm doing something. I see that's not blooming enough. So I tried to help it bloom a little bit. And that was not very, didn't turn out very well because this is a stage where the paper starts to dry. And when I did that, it creates bloom. So I'm demonstrating how to create bloom. It's just when it's dry, it's going to have some bloom, but it's really okay. Some people hate the bloom in watercolor. I don't. It's just a natural way of becoming. So I keep it there now to bother it. And I'm going to replay this video so you can watch it again. Okay, now I'm ready to put in the leaf before the water of the flower is completely dry. So there's a natural connection between the leaf and the flower. So this is basically in a creamy mixture. Creamy mixture, pick up some pigment and use my brush rather quickly glide onto my brush. Remember the first exercise we did the 4 brush strokes. So here is where I use the kind of like sword, just to glide on my paper more quickly. Short brush stroke. And I'm trying to add some butter mixture for the leaf to put in some darkness that's needed there to give it some punch. So for the stem here, I come with a sword kind of brush stroke that gives it a natural flickering of light on that stem. So I love that. Okay, so basically you have a little rose right here. So I'm now looking at my painting and see what else I want to do. A rose already appeared, and it's really up to the artist right now if what you want to do next. Add more, strengthen some darkness like I did. So I'm coming in to strengthen some darkness where I see is a critical point. So here's with values, we don't put darkness everywhere, but we put it in the critical point. For this critical point is where the rose start to grow. That area I feel is the most important, is a transformative area. So I try to emphasize it. And that really makes the rose feel, it's there, it's grounded on a place. Okay. So now I feel like I want to give that rose a little more definition by giving it really sharp darkness. So I use a pointy brush and just very lightly, just very few places, and emphasize where I want the biggest contrast to be. And because this rose feels really soft now, so I like that softness, and I know that the more of this fine line go in there, it's going to take away that softness. So here is also very personal to you. If you love more fine lines, you like more definition, go forward with that. And for me, I like to feel loose and not to be completely defined. So I just have very minimal lines. That is why. So it's all personal. That's Bobby talked about earlier, how we feel. Yeah, the rose could look like the same if we don't bring in our feel. But when we honor what we feel, your art become another life. It's not a copy of life. It becomes alive. So here it's just a rose I feel. It's soft, it's gentle, and have some strength too. So I like that. Okay, now I want to do the thing I love to do to loosen this rose a little bit more, which is to spatter, splash. So that's my favorite thing to do, especially with flowers. I feel like I put on some pollen in the air that really amplifies the beauty of the rose. So I use a pink watery color mixture and then just spatter some onto it. Then some green. So basically I choose the primary color, the biggest color of the subject, and I dab some spatter. And the spatter doesn't go anywhere. So it's only where I want to emphasize this motion. This is really important. I don't spatter everywhere. I try to emphasize this motion, this liveliness, this diagonal, especially for this one. So yeah, so this is the demonstration. So I'm showing you more of these a few rows I did. Some they're pretty can be different. So, and when we paint this way, you are not going to have the same painting each time, and that's the fun part. And yours are not going to look like anyone else. It'll be just yours. So I think that's really wonderful. Okay, let me see. Looks like most of you are painting, and that's really wonderful. And some of you are watching, and that's great too. Yes. Okay. I think given the time, I'm just going to let you, if you are painting, spend the next moment to come to a natural place to complete. And if you were watching, I want to ask you to start ask questions. Yes, so any questions you have for us right now, for me right now, this is a good time to ask. And know that you're going to have this video so you can replay and watch it and try to follow on your own. So Katie, I see you seem to want to say something. Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Yes, that's just beautiful. And I can see that I'm going to have to stick with the basics for a little while just to get the different consistencies.
Yes.
And then try again and keep trying until I guess also what I feel like might be a challenge is knowing when I'm finished. But first I need to actually get started. So thank you, Q. I'm looking forward to doing this exercise.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for your observation. It's very wonderful thoughts. And also I want to say this is really wonderful to lead into this is that sometimes we can feel frustrated when we paint. We look at the teacher's process, right? Then we start to paint and whoa, it doesn't look like that at all. I was like, oh gosh, oh, we must be not good enough. We're not talented, right? That's I could think for myself. But truly, that's not the truth. The truth is, remember we talk about the 4 dimensions of human being. We have physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. When we are watching and listening to the teacher, most likely we are connecting on the intellectual level. Like I'm telling, oh, creamy, this and that. Oh yeah, I'm getting this, I'm getting this. But that is only intellectual. When you paint it, guess what you're using to paint? Your body. It's not just your head, right? So it takes time for this intellect to be embodied. It really takes time. But you can get there just with practice. Because as you can see, it's really not complex. What complex? Well, it can be complex for sure, but just start small, Like you don't have to do big painting. Like I have here really small. When you paint small, you have much less variables to work with. And you can create this little lovely card that I like to create to send to my friends. So it's nothing wasted. And you have more of a handle on it. So yeah, my advice is start small, start simple, and also paint what you love. That's again very important to honor our feeling. When you paint what you love, you're going to have this drive, natural drive. Oh, I just want to paint it. And honestly, you see my painting of rose looks beautiful now, but when I started, it's a huge mess. I truly wish I had retained some of my early rose paintings. Huge mess after mess after. So it was very frustrating. But I just love paint rose. So after 6 years, I can start to paint some rose. Yeah, and it has brought me so much joy and healing. Rose is a wonderful symbol for spiritual healing and growth. So it's just wonderful. So yeah. Let's hear from anyone else have questions. Just please. Yes, Deborah.
You've alluded to the fact that you paint the same subject many times.
Yes, yes.
How do you approach that? Do you just do it the same day? Do you do it over a period of time? How do you do that?
Okay, great. That's a wonderful question too, because for me, especially in the beginning of my learning, for any subject to get it, I must paint at least 3 times to get it going. And I have discovered the more I paint, the more freedom I got. Yeah, it's not just technique. I feel, oh, okay, something else is happening here. Something else is flowing out. So, but to get that flow out, we need to do all this real work, groundwork to paint it many times. So I can do it on the same day if I have the time, like small subject, same day, multiple times. And if I don't have the time, I just do different days. And sometimes I go away from the subject if it frustrates me so much. But I will come back when I feel like it and then continue to learn. And all this, you think, oh, terrible painting I did. There's actually nothing is wasted. You are locked in your brush mill. Yeah, your brush mills. You really have to go so many brush mills to get a place. So whenever I had a bad painting, I was like, oh, okay, but I locked in some brush mills. So that works. Did I answer the question or any further thoughts? I want to tell you again, one more thing about the talent. If you are good enough, oh gosh, this is my favorite thing. But here's this. So many of us, we don't know if we're good enough. We just love it. But when it just turn out right, well, maybe we're not good enough. We're not talented. So after my research and working with so many people, and working with my farm animals. So we're really wild, more like a natural farm than a controlled farm. So yeah, after observing the animals, and I said, wow, we all are born with so incredible amount of ability, and we're really only tapping in so little. And how do you know if you have the ability? It's actually very simple. There's a very simple indicator. It is when you see this beautiful art of someone else, do you feel, I want to learn. I love that. I would love to be able to paint like that. And there's many different art. There are some like, wow, that's great. But I don't think I want to do that. So yeah, there's a difference. You admire it, but you don't feel, I want to learn. But if there's an art, you feel, I want to learn. That is the indicator you have it. Because it's about resonance. If you don't have it in you, you won't resonate with what's out there. Yeah? So that's an equal amount. Whatever the great talent you admire in that teacher, if you feel, I want to learn, that means you have the same gift. That's so true, my friends. I want to tell you that I do have another course I just started. So see, today we talk so much about the instrument of the artist, how we open up and how we engage art, not let it to devastate us, but nourish us, bring us the goodness more into the world, into ourselves. So I have started to create this course. It's called The Inner Artist Journey, and it's really just devoted on that part. So let me see if I can show you this. So here is a diagram. Maybe it's mirrored for you, but basically I talk about two aspects of art learning. Mostly we're aware of the technique, right? The technique part. But there's another part that's awareness. So when these two parts come together, we truly create in a way that serves this well-being of yourself and this beautiful world, and really teach a lot and having that experience. And I feel it's right time for me to start to share that kind of knowledge, the wisdom. And in this inner artist journey, everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter beginning or not, what medium, although most exercise we'll do is in watercolor. So we're going to go through all these things we talk about, the intuition, the feelings, the feedback. What is a feedback we're hearing? And how do we create with fun, with joy, the joy of life, the feminine, the masculine, this balance of this energy. So all that is in that course. And we started the first one last month. We're going to do another one this coming month. So basically I kind of interchange each month. I have one class focused on technique, like we did today, and another one focused on awareness. But as you can see, I can't just learn awareness just by awareness. We can't learn techniques without awareness, right? So there's an emphasis, but there's integration. Yes, so I will put more information on that in the follow-up email. All right, so I think we are about time. And for this moment, I just want to invite all of us to just sit back. Like in the beginning, sit back comfortably. And just breathe naturally on your own, and let this wonderful experience start to flow through you and receive it better. Just breathe naturally on your own for a little while. Whenever you are ready, I welcome you to open your eyes and come back to the space. And if anything that showed up just now or right now, I welcome you to just put it in the chat box. Anything that came up for you, if you feel like it. And for those of you, if you don't feel like typing, that's beautiful. So if there's anything you want to share, you're welcome to share. And for those of you, if you need to go, then you're welcome to leave the space. Please know I'm really thankful you are here, and I wish you great joy in your watercolor painting.